Hi, Stitchers!
Hi, I'm Laura.
And I'm Keisha, and we're the Pattern Queens, and welcome to Stitch With Us, episode 33. Today is Sunday, May the 14th, and this is a channel about cross stitch.
And silliness and friendship and rambles and a 4th year of stitching on the same piece, which we're not going to show you to begin with.
Her decision. But we are working on Let Joy Be Unconfined by the Blue Flower.
I'll put in a picture up here.
Put in the one right there. And we have worked on this every Mother's Day since I was pregnant with my son. So here we go. We're going to finish it today.
And the 14th. What a good day to finish it, right?
Yes, perfect. So, anyway, let's get going.
Okay. We're hoping we don't have tons, but y'all could just sit with us for a while.
Right. So, how has your Mother's Day been so far today?
Well, it's been pretty good. And we, Katie and I actually did some fun running around yesterday. And she said, oh, Mother's Day weekend, we're shopping. You can get new things. So I already got, I got my dress and I had a fun t-shirt on last night. And I know we're having taco bar at my house tonight.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. So it's been good. Now we had a little bit of a bump this morning because we couldn't get into the office. But Keisha liked that because she got to do a little extra stitching before we came in.
This could have been an extra long stitch.
So how has your morning been?
It's been good. So yesterday we did more of our celebrating. We went out to Powell Gardens, which is a nice botanical garden outside of the city, and we went with a friend and we walked all around, and I got a sunburn because I let the toddler help me put on sunscreen, and he didn't do a great job. But it's okay. It's not too bad. And so that was really fun, and we went out and had pizza after that, and it was just a good day. And then this morning I woke up early, and so I was awake whenever my son woke up, and he comes to the door and he goes, "It's wake up time. It's wake up time." And so I go in, and then he points to his window to prove that the sun's up, that it's wake up time. It was 7:15. He woke up. So then we had some breakfast, and he was playing a game on the tablet. He was sitting with me, and then he says, "I'm gonna go sit on Dad's couch," because we have a couple of couches, and there's one that I usually sit on. And he said, "So you can stitch." Because usually I'm trying to stitch and he's sitting right here, so I either have to hold this like this or I keep bonking his head. So he knows the drill. So he went over there, but I did get some little kid snuggles. And when I was trying to leave to come here, he asked if I wanted to color with him. No, I can't color with him.
I, on the other hand, had to remind Bree that it was Mother's Day. That's kind of the norm, I think.
Right.
Katie always has a plan. Bree always hopes somebody else plans for her. And we will have more chat today on the Black Needle Society. So that will be fun. I'm looking forward to it. We had great conversation last night. Lots of people, some new people we haven't met before. And because of the time that we did it, the Aussie crowd was able to join us last night. So that was fun. Nice. It was Sunday afternoon for them, which, interesting fact, this Mother's Day is the same day in Australia and the US.
Oh, that is interesting.
So now you've had your fact for the day.
Here we go. Well, later on today, my parents, they live about 2 hours away, but they're coming to the city. My mom, I guess, decided last minute she wanted to do something, and so they're going to Main Event. I've never been to Main Event, but I know that it's just one of those arcade places that have bowling and things like that. So I think my mom's bringing at least one of my brothers, maybe both, and we're gonna all go and spend some time doing that, and then go out to eat. So those are our planned adventures. I don't know that we'll do anything this evening because my husband works tonight, but I'll just snuggle my boy. It'll be fun. So we started this in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And my first question on here, it's not really a Mother's Day related question, but I guess sort of. How has your life changed in the past 3 years?
That's kind of a loaded question
Right.
for me.
You have a lot of things that have happened to you.
So at the beginning of 2020, we were still kind of dreaming, Katie and I were still kind of dreaming about, oh, it would be fun to have a subscription cross stitch box.
Mm-hmm.
And then COVID hit, and we had planned a couple of retreats, in-person retreats for 2020. And then COVID hit, and we had to pivot and work things out. And we ended up changing because we had done an online event for a previous retreat that I had helped host. We decided, Katie came up with the idea to move it to a digital retreat. And then, we would give the ladies their in-person retreat later on too, because COVID was going to be over in just no time.
Yeah, sure.
So we ran around with a very pregnant Keisha and delivered boxes, which was fun.
Yes.
And then Katie and I rented an Airbnb, and that meant because we were in Keisha's circle, she got to come hang out with us there.
Yes.
And you were not getting much away from the house time.
No, at that time I was leaving my house to go to work. Whenever I wasn't working remotely, because I worked remotely for a month. I went to work and I went to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Is the only place. I didn't even go to the store. It was funny whenever I went back out to the store for the first time after having James. I was like, oh, they've rearranged this high beat. So yeah, I wasn't getting out at all.
Yeah, so Keisha rode with us, which was fun. And we had door prizes that we had planned to give out. So Keisha got to reach in and choose a door prize package for everybody whose house we stopped at. And I just remember people had been, this was in April, and people had been inside just long enough that we had said, nobody open the door, don't come out. We're not going to risk exposing anyone to anything. Keisha's in the car. No. And everybody stayed in. But the funny thing was that I would walk up to doors and people would be at the door. Hi. And obviously we are a social people because everyone really was so happy to see another face, and a face that they recognized. And we delivered all the boxes and did all that and did our online retreat. And that's kind of where we decided, we've wanted to do this, and people are clamoring for things because you can't go to the LNS. So we pushed up, we went ahead and took orders for our box, but we also came up with a quick summer box, which confused people because we didn't have all the normal things because we did it fast. But we sent that out, and we hosted our first Frogwarts online retreat, and that just has turned into a crazy competitive cross stitch event that is so fun. And we know that we will have to have competitive cross stitch even when it's over. Right. So all of this has been about work. And, personally, I feel like our family just kind of pulled together and worked and kept things going. And we did maintain our bubble. And because we maintained our bubble, Katie and I got to go baby cuddle. Brand new baby.
Yep, you were allowed over with the grandparents and the close friends.
It was amazing. How about you? How have things changed?
Ooh, well, as we established when we started this project, I was pregnant. So my entire life was different because I've added another person to my family, and we have to, I know more about Daniel Tiger and Paw Patrol and PJ Masks than a person should know about in their 30s.
And you were pregnant and thinking that you might have to deliver alone.
Yeah, well, 2020 was a scary time because hospitals were so shut down. They didn't know, I was reading stories about women who were delivering without their partners. And so when I had James, thankfully, I did have to get tested for COVID ahead of time. And then I was told that I couldn't, because he was induced. So I knew what day I was going to the hospital. So I got tested for COVID ahead of time. And then they told me that I couldn't really have any interaction with anybody outside until I went into the hospital, which didn't happen because my mom came to my house and I went to work still after that, because that was the Wednesday before I was induced and I worked until Friday. But luckily, even if I had COVID, they were allowing one person to come in, which broke my poor mom's heart because I said that I was going to take my husband. And so, but she stayed at my house and rearranged all the furniture. My dad and my brother came. One of my brothers came and they built the crib because I left that so that they would have something to do because I knew my dad would be extremely nervous.
And what happened to your cross stitch?
And all of my cross stitch, my mom, my loving mom, who does not cross stitch, was like, I'll just put this all in a big box. So patterns were separated from floss, were separated from the fabric because she was just trying to organize it.
I love that she was just doing something nice for you and got everything all tidied and put away and
it's not even like a series of small boxes. It's the box that the recliner that's in the in James's room came in. So it's like a box as big as I am.
We still need to bring that box here and just empty it
store
on the table
right.
and have a sorting party. We have the carts out there. We can just haul that in.
Right on up. But yeah, so but I didn't have COVID and my husband was able to come. All of our families were around, just in case something were to happen, but it was really strange. But yeah, so then, now I have a boy who's going to be 3 in July. And if you watch everything on this channel, which, who has time for that? But he is featured in all of the Advent unboxings. So,
so you can go check him out for every year.
Yeah, so we have 3 years from pretty new to rambunctious toddler. You can see him grow. And then, so that's personally. Professionally, I still work at the same place I worked at in 2020, but I have an entirely new job because the person who was head of the department I was working in took another position in the city. So now I'm the head of the department, which has been rewarding and challenging, and some days it's the best thing and some days I need a vacation, but I think that's every job. So.
Yeah. Now professionally for me, the first year, so 2020 in March, we went on spring break and then we didn't go back to school. But for about a month after that, I went to a location and got on a bus and rode around for an hour or two in the morning, and we delivered lunches and breakfast. So lunch for that day and breakfast for the next day.
Right.
And we handed them out. There were the bus driver and then 4 of us on the bus. And 2 people got off and 2 people stayed on. I usually stayed on because they didn't want, it's too much for me to get on and off and climb up and down and all the things. But there were also people at every stop who were there to help. They were assigned to be there and help. And so we would get out all of these bags for each location and hand things out. And that went on for about a month. And then there were enough COVID cases, enough positive COVID cases, that they decided what would be better would be to centralize it to just certain schools, and people had to come and pick it up.
Right.
And I'm sure that that was not as convenient for all of our people, but I also know that so many people were working from home that, like, you know, somebody could pick up for their neighbor,
Right.
or, you know, whatever. People were making it work. And then I had, because we weren't doing school and they didn't have things for me, I would get on my laptop, and I knew I had set up teams with my ELL kids, and I would get on and check with them and see if they needed any help. And also I would, one of the things, just so I could log my hours, is that I would have lunch with Miss Landis.
Yeah.
And I had been assigned to a second grade classroom to do, I think I'm mixing my years here, but the next year I had been assigned to a second grade classroom. So when we were out at any time, and we were out a couple of times, I would do lunch, and the kids could come on, and during lunchtime they could show me pretty much whatever they wanted to. So they would show me stuffed animals and little siblings and backflips, and they would read to me, or they would ask me to read to them. So I feel like I got really close with those kids because I got to see a lot of their personality, and I got to have more personality too.
Right, because you got to know each other on a more personal level that way.
So that was kind of a fun thing that came out of it. But, you know, everybody else, I feel like corporate America has shifted to work from home,
right,
for the most part. And I'm one of those people who that's not the case.
Right, yes, and I am that way too. The only reason I got to work from home whenever COVID was at its beginnings was that I had a note from my doctor that said, "Hey, pregnancy is a high risk group. Please consider," because I work for a municipal government, and the county where it's located had closed down, so no one was able to go into county buildings. So the since the city I work for doesn't have its own health department, we followed suit with what the county did. And so we actually locked our doors at the city, and were basically, it was because uncertainty was so high, it was do your work and then you can leave. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to do your work, just do your work and then you can go home. And so we had, before I worked remotely, they had closed the lobby so people could not come inside. They had to drop any payments in our Dropbox that deposited directly into the building. And so then we would just get them out of that Dropbox and process them. And then they gave me a laptop, but they gave me a laptop even before I was tasked with working from home that little bit of time, because as one of our accounting controls, 2 people have to approve the distribution in the bank to pay payroll. So they needed to make sure that there were 2 people, so it was my boss and me, who had access to go in and approve that at any time, because we just never knew if we were coming back the next day. But everyone still went to City Hall. We just went over to the public. It was so strange.
Well, and then I remember going back in the fall of 2020, and we were fully masked. We went back late. It was the latest start that we've had since I've been working for the school district. And we went back late, and everybody wore masks. And, you know, I had the morning greeter duty, the car rider duty. And as kids came in, if they didn't have a mask, I would hand them one and they would put it on. And we wore our masks all day, every day. And that sounds awful, but you get so used to it that I don't think it's just not even a big deal.
Right. Yeah, we wore masks, everyone did in the office, which was good for me because I was trying to be as careful as possible
Yes.
of that. And afterwards too, because I was pregnant, and then when I went back from maternity leave, I had a newborn. So um, it's such a strange time.
I think it was hard at school because like I work in a Title I school, and I feel like our little people just need more hugs. And that was something that we could not do. We didn't fist bump, we did elbows a lot. So, but we were really trying not to do much of anything. And that's hard because one of the ways that I feel like kids see approval is that you're showing them some affection. So that was interesting. And it was weird. I know the first time that we were really truly out in a public setting with no masks for Katie and I was she's right here, that's why I keep looking that way, was when we went to StitchCon last year in 2022, and I had worn my mask pretty much all year, so that I would so that I'd be safe, and I kept up on all my shots, and I just wore my mask and took care of things. So we made the decision we were going to be without our masks because we had done our shots. I did fine. Where's some wood? Because here we go. She's like making fun of me over here. I have never tested positive for COVID. On the way home, Katie and I sang at the top of our lungs in the car the whole way. We got home and she's like, I'm kind of stuffy, not feeling very good. Yes, she came home with COVID from StitchCon. So we made it work. And she finished up right before we had an online retreat so that we were able to sit next to each other.
See, I've had COVID twice. Both times I'm convinced it was picked up at daycare and brought home. And the second time I got it, my husband didn't get it, which was good. But the first time he did have it. And it's the joke around my job that we can't hire anyone new for the front desk, because both times that a new person has started at the front desk are the times I got COVID. So the person who's currently there cannot leave that position or I will get COVID again. So
I really kind of think that I probably have had COVID, but that I'm just either asymptomatic or it's not been, but I've tested and not tested positive. So for whatever reason, and you should know, I catch everything. I mean, I'm the person who I get a flu shot, I still get the flu. I catch everything that's going around. And I wash my hands like mad all the time. I am uber careful about things, but for whatever reason, this just hasn't really hit me. So
that's good.
I hope that it continues that way. I like that trend.
I just remember the first Keisha's day out that I got to have after I had James. It was in December of 2020. You and Katie and Athena picked me up and we went down to Cecilia's in Branson. And so we wore masks whenever we were down there and everything was good. And you told me about this restaurant that you're like, oh, this is really good. They had really good COVID protocols. It was an unseasonably warm day.
Yes.
And there were people out everywhere and it freaked me out. And so
none of us wanted to go.
Yeah, we got to the restaurant. It is packed. And just people at tables next to each other and everything. And so we're like, sorry everyone who came, because our friend Christy Lee had met us and everything. We're like, I'm so sorry. I don't think I can eat in this restaurant. I don't feel comfortable. And
I don't think any of us wanted to eat in there because just looking through the windows, people were like right next to each other.
yeah,
And when we had been there, they had left a booth in between or a table in between. And then the ones across, they staggered
right.
so that they were across from an empty booth. But yeah,
So, and whenever
too much.
right. And when we went down to Branson last year to celebrate Mother's Day, my family and I, we did eat at that restaurant, and it was delicious. But yeah, so we ended up getting Jimmy John's in Springfield on the way home. It just ate Jimmy John's in the car.
Spilled pickle juice.
And Katie spilled pickle juice in a famous car.
Oh, yeah.
So still got a good story out of it. It's amazing.
And what's normal now?
Yeah. Just living through that time, and we're still in it, but it's just so interesting to have made it. And then of course, I was afraid I wasn't going to have a baby shower. And Laura and Katie were laughing behind computer screens because they had planned a baby shower for me and I didn't even know it. So they collected a bunch of our friends on Zoom who sent presents to them for them to bring and to wrap and bring. So James has presents from Canada and Australia, and of course the US.
The wonky donkey.
Still a favorite in our house.
And your mom.
And they invited my mom, and I of course lost it when I saw her.
And Keisha's mom was inside, pacing back and forth, waiting for Keisha to come in. And I think they both lost it when they saw each other. It was so fun.
So I got that baby shower because my mom had been trying to plan one for me, and everything was closed down. And by the time we got to where maybe I would have been comfortable with a couple of close family members, I was too far along to travel that far from my hospital. So, and then at work, they also threw me a baby shower. And it
was a surprise too,
it was
right?
a surprise too. They had covertly been like, "Well, did you register anywhere?" And I'm bad at picking up on hints.
It's good though, because we let ourselves be surprised. That's how I look at that.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, Timothy put together a registry, but we're not getting anything from it because we can't have a baby shower. It's just kind of our, list of things we want to get eventually. So they found it and bought me things from the registry and had a cake and made punch, and it was really nice. So.
It's amazing what you can make happen when you just get creative. And thankfully I'm blessed with a creative girl who is in charge of things. So
yes, I've benefited from that quite a few times myself.
I think the fun thing with your shower too was that we had told all of our friends, hey, Keisha's not going to want everybody to be sitting and staring at her, so please bring your stitching. And Keisha had said on one of our videos, it is the saddest thing ever. She's like, well, I'm not going to get to have a baby shower, so you could stitch with me and you could stitch something. What did you say?
With sheep.
Something with sheep or something blue.
Yeah. Or just something that makes you happy is probably what I said, I'm sure.
So
probably some of you out there started something. Thank you.
It went my hoop. That's okay.
Did you finish?
I did.
Okay. Well, now I gotta hurry up.
You're fine. I'm just going to make my pattern keeper say thank you, Kate. 100%. I like that.
To say that she's all done.
So, and I found, do you have your needle minder today?
Oh, I don't have it with me today.
I found when Katie and I were out, these needle minders. Maybe I'll take a picture of that, and that's what I'll put up at the beginning.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Because I can make it be real big for you guys. But I found the needle minders that say "Let Joy Be Unconfined."
Mhm.
So it's a beautiful little needle minder,
Yes,
and it's
too.
kind of fun for me because I can compare my colors. If we talk a little,
Mhm.
I used it called for all Dinky Dyes. Well, I had done a Dinky Dyes Floss of the Month club,
Mhm.
and so I had a bunch, and I pulled them out and thought, oh yeah, I'll have those colors. I had one, just one. And so I just went in and chose colors that were close, other than the lettering, which it's done in teal. You'll see Keisha used all the called for, and it's really, really pretty. And I changed mine to purple because, of course, that's my favorite color. But it also means that, like, the center of one flower, oh,
Mhm.
that's the thing that you get the
The one I'm
stitch fill.
working on,
Yeah. And the veins in the leaves there are supposed to be in that color. And I just went ahead and made mine purple. So,
Well, and to talk about this project a little bit more on my end, this is the first project I ever stitched on that has silks. I had never stitched with silks before. So it was kind of my indulgence, because usually if I get something that calls for silks, I would just, try to find an over dye or something else.
but you just let your joy be unconfined and you use this silk.
I did. I told myself that it was my Mother's Day present when I was pregnant, was that I was going to splurge and get this. And now I have a couple of other things that have silks that I've gotten, mostly silks that I've gotten out of black needle boxes, but because I don't splurge a whole lot of them, but it has been really fun to stitch with these colors. I just have the center of a flower left. It's not
You're
a real
fine.
big spot.
You're fine. And I'm using 32 count Tutu from Color and Cotton.
And mine is 32 count Fern from Color and Cotton, but mine isn't even.
Yeah, and mine is a linen. So did I say that? I don't know.
They probably assumed it's you.
But I had gotten this piece in a fabric of the month, and I used part of it for another project. And when we were getting ready to do this, I thought, oh, well, that'll be perfect. So speaking of Color and Cotton, the big exciting news is that they are opening their retail store. Oh, I probably don't even need my phone to check the dates because it's next weekend. And they're doing their grand opening on the 20th Saturday and 21st Sunday in the St. Louis area.
That's so exciting. I'm so glad that she's finally, I know she's been trying to open that shop for a long time. So if you're in the St. Louis area or anywhere surrounding, you should check that out. I really enjoy everything that I've ever gotten from her.
And Katie and I are not planning to go next weekend because we think it'll be a little crazy. But we're going to wait until I only have this next week and one more week of school left. And then we're going to go after school is out. We'll go during the week.
Right.
So that will be fun to go and check out the shop and really be able to look around.
Ooh, if you follow her on Instagram or on Facebook, she has posted a picture of her wall of floss, and it is amazing. I don't know if you've seen that picture. I won't be going to the opening because my youngest cousin graduates, so I'll be going to his graduation, and I have some family that's coming from out of state. Both of his siblings no longer live in Missouri. One lives in Oregon, and the other one lives wherever the Navy tells her to. And then I also have an aunt and uncle who live in Georgia who are coming to visit. So I'm really excited to see all of them.
That'll be fun. I have kept mine too in this book sleeve from Lovey More that I made. And I just felt like, with all the pretty flowers on the pattern, that this one was my perfect place
Do you
for
want to
it.
show off mine and I'll talk about it? Oh, awesome. So that's what I've been keeping mine in. It's all these beautiful colors. And if you look in there, you'll see that there is a card. I won that at one of the digital retreats playing bingo.
Oh, so fun.
So,
When we used to play bingo.
so you'll
This
see
one
that
was
there's,
called Cheers.
yep, and you have the name of it in there and that I won it. And I just
Oh,
kept it
because,
in that.
yeah.
Yep.
This
So-
is what we send out when we send a card. So
yeah. Everything's all together. The needle minder I put in a safe place so that my little needle minder thief wouldn't get it, because he's been better about it lately, but he really does love to steal a needle.
we were going to have mimosas this morning that would have matched this, but Katie wanted to make sure that the Asti was cold, and she put it in our little freezer here. Asti freezes. We found this out. So we will have mimosas later on.
Yeah, mimosa slushies.
You probably could have that, huh? But anyway, it's been a fun project, and I feel like this is a tradition. So we're going to have to spend a year figuring out what the next project
That'll
can
be
be.
fun. No, we'll have to decide if we're sticking with florals or just something that makes us think about the joy of motherhood.
Yeah, and what I liked about this one is that it was great for the time while we were at home, and to be a Be Well and Stitch piece, but also I just think it really speaks to being a mother.
For sure.
So
Well, and our joke at the beginning was that at that time my joy was confined.
yes.
And now he's very much unconfined. I wish I could confine him. He has all of the energy you would expect an almost 3-year-old to have. So
it has been a fun project, though. I really have liked this.
and if you like this project too, I mean we haven't shown it to you, but we've shown it to you in the
did
past.
at the beginning.
Oh, that's
right?
true. I guess that's true. If you like it, it's still up for free on the Blue Flowers website. So she has several beautiful patterns, a few other freebies too that are really nice.
This is just, I like everything about how it's put together. And you'll see when we hold these up together that even though I didn't strictly follow her color scheme, it's still
It's
it
still pretty
just
close.
yeah, and it just really shines. I think the biggest difference is that I did not have an orange in my flosses, and so mine is more reddish.
Yeah,
And
the red, and then you using purple instead of the blue.
Mhm.
Your blues are a little bit different too, but pretty close.
my I can see my green is way lighter, one of my greens.
Yes.
A little more minty.
But it works on yours.
Mhm.
Okay, guys, I'm down to the last like 2 stitches. Listen to us vamp.
Yeah, so you're gonna hear a pop. There we go.
It's okay, it was the chair, not Laura.
Yes. I did not break.
Okay.
And I'm going to stand there.
Trying to do, you know, whenever you get down to the last couple of stitches, a knot
And
always
everything,
happens,
yes.
or so I'm trying not to have that happen.
Well, and we're just being patient.
We're just being patient. So we planned, we were trying to get
did.
in the
So last year when we finished our stitch with us, I told Keisha, okay, I'm only gonna make one more year.
get your act together.
I had worked on mine more, I think, after the first year.
Yeah.
And then we decided that we were going to work on it on Mother's Day for a stitch with us, so I stopped. But I think I had all of my lettering in, and I've kind of played and taken my time with putting flowers in. So pretty.
It's all in my notes. That's a good idea.
It makes a nice way to hold it.
The perfect size, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So here, are we ready for the grand reveal?
I must scoot out.
All right.
Ready? Here they are. So you can see, I'll tuck mine in with your hand. How about that? You can see what changing colors does. I love your oranges in there.
And your purple is perfect.
Well, it's me.
It's you.
But that's kind of fun that they're just a little different.
Mhm. But they're still, I mean, you can definitely tell they're the same.
Yeah. So Keisha's favorite color is green, so that works.
Of course.
And mine, of course, is purple, and I love it. This tutu, if you get a chance to get some tutu from Color and Cotton, it is a great neutral without being like a natural color,
Yeah,
a brown.
It's a pink neutral.
Mhm. And it does have a little bit of brownish in it to just kind of tone it down. But seriously, I've loved it as a neutral. So
Well, and I like green. It matches my shirt today. Basically.
it does.
So-
I love stitching on green. That's one of my favorite colors to stitch on.
Well, and I had this, and I really wanted to use it for something special because green is my favorite. And I was just so happy that all of the greens really show up on here. So
Oh, and look at the oranges on it. See, I'm like really thinking those oranges are pretty.
see, we're just
Okay,
doing
let's
it
do-
on over each other's.
There you go. Now you can see them really, really close. They're so cool together.
So fun.
I had not noticed, just because of where my hoop was, that these two sets of flowers are just backwards from each other.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, there's a lot of really clever stuff in here that I
Mhm.
like a lot. So, and that these flowers are the same, they're just different colors on the outside. This is
Mhm.
the same colors on the inside. It's just so much fun. So
yeah, there were a lot of just fun little things that she put in there, and it's been really nice. It's been a relaxing piece, I feel like, and
yeah,
you did have to count, but it wasn't. I felt like things were close enough.
right. And if you messed up, it was a very forgiving if you messed up
Mhm.
piece. So
So that's it.
so that's it. We did it.
So exciting.
So now we just gotta figure out next year.
That'll be it. We'll let you guys know, and maybe you can join us for our annual Mother's Day stitch. And you just have to know that it's going to take us 4 or 5 years to finish a piece this size.
Yeah, no, my son will solidly be in elementary school by the time we finish the next one.
Wow. Yes. Yes. That's crazy, right?
So, but anyway, have we gotten up to enough shenanigans today?
Well, I think so. And we've certainly rambled enough.
Oh, more than enough. So I guess all that's left to say is bye.
Happy Mother's Day.
Have a good week.